welcome to today's video. So we are going to be doing a mystery tackle box unboxing video today. So unfortunately here in Texas we have had a ice storm kind of come in. We've had a lot of ice, a lot of snow, a lot of frigid temperatures, so we will not be able to fish because everything's kind of frozen up. But enough talking about that. Let's go ahead and jump into today's mystery tackle box, show you guys all the lures, kind of give you a good description of the colors, the weight, length, stuff like that, to go over the usage, how you would use them, techniques, weights that you would want to use for them, hooks, stuff like that. And then also the pricing of the lure itself, so we can kind of compare the total cost of a mystery tackle box to the cost of the lures when you break them all down. But with that being said, let's go ahead and crack this box open. Alright, so first thing I want to talk about is just the box itself. If you guys are not familiar with mystery tackle box, one of the cool and fun things that they do with their boxes is they provide a ruler across the top of the box right here. As you can see, these flaps open right up. So on the top you have an assortment of different types of fish. They give you the specific length that you need to keep the fish if you are looking, to get out there and catch some of these fish. They also provide their Instagram information here, so if you do catch a nice fish or something that you want to go ahead and tag them in, there is potential that they will give you a shout out on their page as well. So that's just one of the cool and fun designs about Mystery Tackle Box, and just one more thing that they provide for you, to make sure you have everything that you need when you get out there on the water. So moving forward from the box itself, one of the first things that I like to take a look at when I get my mystery tackle box is the actual paper content that they provide for you. They usually give you one little cardboard cutout that gives you a lure of the month breakdown, gives you a lot of specific information on a specific lure that they provide for this month in the box. We're going to go ahead and go over that later on though when we get to that lure. Another thing that they provide for you is a pricing breakdown. So this is a really good little tool to have to understand, the great deals that you are getting from Mystery Tackle Box versus buying these lures just at full price at any store. You got Academy, Dick's, Bass Pro Shop. All these places are going to be providing a lot of these lures, but through Mystery Tackle Box you are going to see the significant discount that you get when you get one of these boxes. If you're not familiar with Mystery Tackle Box, you can get these boxes for about $20 to $25. You can actually get your first box for as little as $10 if you use my code Ryan R. If you have never used Mystery Tackle Box before, make sure you jump on over there. I'm gonna leave a link below for you guys. Also leave the code below for you guys so you can try it out. So besides the pricing breakdown, the last thing that they provide for you, which is one of my favorite things to go over every single month, is the tips and tricks little booklet. This little piece of paper opens up quite well, and as you can see, it has multiple sections, front and back. So it looks like this month they're going to be talking about squirrely lures and cold water bassing, and specifically in these sections it looks like they are talking about buck tails and spinner type baits, and then it looks like the weather lure types, feeding types, and I guess the movement of bass in cold weather. So really good information right there on the inside. On the outside they usually have a little bit of fun for you guys, some fun activities. Right here there's some Q&As about how to hide your fish secrets from your friends, and then on the front they have a Carl's fun fact. So make sure you take a look at that. Always has great information. This is one of the ways where you will learn a lot about the techniques that they provide in the box, as well as just techniques that you will need to learn to catch more fish. Like I said, I have read these almost every single time. I've learned so many different things about jerkbaits, Texas rigs, punchings, frogs. They provide a lot of great information, guys, and make sure you read these things. Alright guys, so now that we've gone over the informational portion of the box, we can go ahead and move forward, start taking a look at the lures and the terminal that they provide for this month. The first thing that we'll be taking a look at is actually going to be some terminal, which is going to be some Harmony hooks. So these look like they are going to be some 2/0, maybe a 3/0 offset worm hook. Harmony hooks usually are a wire type hook, so there's going to be a little bit of bend into it, but what that means is they're going to be a lot sharper, a lot easier to penetrate through the bass. The main way that I would be using these is on a Texas rig usually on a ribbon tail or just on a Senko. Occasionally you'll catch me with the Craw or Bandito bug on a offset, but I usually will use these with just a worm. That's what they're meant for. It's a little bit slimmer body, so it kind of comes up a little bit easier, sets a little bit easier in the bait itself compared to a Craw that can kind of get at a weird angle and make it come up a little bit more. So that is why I recommend you use these with a worm versus a Craw. Looks like these Harmony hooks are going to be coming in at $1.99. So I'm going to go ahead and round up on the pricing of these lures, and we'll be starting out this mystery tackle box with a $2 item. So keep it going. All right, so the next thing that I see is going to be a 1/2 ounce diesel football jig. So this is the Hard Hats jig. This is a diesel, once again, football jig, and it is going to be an Okeechobee Craw color. It's got that really nice green pumpkin look to it with the blue base. Really nice way to stand out and really grab the attraction of bass. Looks like it has a 4/0 hook, 1/2 ounce football jig, and a nice, pretty nice and strong little hook guard right there, little weed guard. The one thing I will say about fishing a football jig is you want to kind of fish rocky, kind of flat surfaces. The way football jigs work is they kind of just bounce right over the surface. The shape of the football does not allow them to turn over sideways or move in any other direction except for kind of forward. So you want to make sure you fish them properly in open areas, tie on a Craw, and kind of just work them across ledges, rocky patches. You don't really want to work them in structure like logs. You can fish them in grass, but when you start fishing them in logs and stuff, there's a lot of potential you get hung up just because of the shape of the football. This lure is going to be coming in at $4.30, and I will say I do like this brand. I have used it in the past. Not specifically the football jig, but the flipping jig. All right, so the next item in here is going to be the X-Sight soft plastic Rage Tail worm. So this is going to be a ribbon tail style worm. As you can see, it's got that nice curly edge to it. It's got a lip along the edge of that tail, and then it's got a ball or a knocker at the base of the tail. So you get a lot of movement because that'll catch, create a lot of spinning in the tail, get a lot of movement. So I would recommend fishing this on a shaky head setup, Texas rig as well. I think the shaky head would work very nice. It would allow the tail to kind of sit upward and just definitely attract the fish as you are slowly working it through the water, bouncing it. The Texas rig, once again, would work very well, working it right above grass patches on a very lightweight. I would say anything from a 1/16 of an ounce to a 1/4 of an ounce. You just want to kind of brush the top of the grass patches and make it mimic like a snake, a lizard, something like that, kind of working through the grass looking for some cover. Excuse me, I called them Rage Tails earlier. They are actually called Raptor Tails, my mistake. And they're gonna be coming in at $4.05. So $4.05. And it looks like we got a nice hefty pack of them. Mystery tackle box was not holding out. This is not a sample pack. It looks like we got probably about a good 10 worms in there. So we got plenty to try out. Good haul. Next lure we will take a look at is going to be the Cream Craw. And it looks like we got it in the green pumpkin color as well. I don't think that I mentioned that our little Raptor tail was green pumpkin. So, but now that we got that all settled, we got ourselves a nice little Cream Craw. Nothing too crazy about it. It is pretty basic looking craw body, very slender base to it. It's got some nice thin claws, so you get a nice flapping finesse motion to it. Some people will complain that thin claws kind of break and just cause issues. I think you get a lot more finesse, a lot more movement in the claws themselves, especially when they have edges like this to the actual lure itself. So once again, the Cream Craw by Cream Baits. These lures are going to be coming in at a whopping $2.50. So very affordable lure. The plastic is pretty darn durable, I'll tell you that much. I don't think I've ever fished this brand before. But it reminds me of a lot of common baits. It's got that basic kind of feel to it. It's got the basic kind of smell to it, and it's got the basic kind of look to it. So it's nothing too crazy, but it is definitely something I would use. So working this bait, obviously I would put it on a jig like such, but if I don't have a jig with me, Texas rig is going to be my favorite way to fish a craw besides a jig. Chatterbaits are another great way to fish them. Not only do they have a lot of thumping, but when you get those claws behind it, creates a lot of finesse, a lot of sporadic movement, and definitely gets the bass going. I usually actually fish craws and chatterbaits in muddy stained water. Definitely has been one of my favorite lures to fish this year, and has definitely proven to work really, really well for me. So moving forward on our lures, we have our next one, which is going to be a Road Runner Marabou Pro Runner. So this is a lure that I personally can't really give you a lot of information about because I've never used one. I don't really know how you would use them other than like a slow retrieve or kind of popping it like a jig. I do know that bucktail or kind of feather-like skirts like this work very sporadic in the water. They are very static-like. As soon as you move them, they kind of open up and then close, open up and close. They kind of just move in the water very lightly. So they work very well to finesse. Usually people use them with jigs. You just kind of pop them up and down, work them really slow, leave them on the bottom for ice fishing, stuff like that. So having an underspin in the lure as well, I'm not too sure if you're going to want to kind of work these a little bit faster. Maybe work them right above grass patches as well. It does look like it is a 1/4 ounce weight, so that it's not too heavy. You can definitely work it right above grass patches and not have any sort of issues. With that being said, like I was saying earlier, I'm not too familiar with lures like this. I've never fished them myself, so I can't give you a lot of information as far as techniques go. But we do got a nice little white bucktail underspin L-shaped kind of lure. The jig head itself is going to be that L-shaped basic kind of old school look to it. It's got that underspin blade. It's got probably a little 1/0, 2/0 little hook in there, and I assume that this would work really good, especially this time of the year. The fish are kind of feeding on smaller types of baits, a lot of bait fish, so this is definitely going to work good in like a local pond. Try out there, maybe just kind of slow roll it. So once again, the Road Runner Marabou Pro coming in at $5.50. I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd spend $5.50 on that lure, but there's probably people that are going to be watching this video saying like, what the heck, Ryan, you don't know how good this lure is? I mean, it looks pretty old school. Yeah, 1959 is how long they've been making these lures. It says it right there, 1959. So I trust them. All right, so moving forward again, our next lure, which is going to be one of my favorite lures, is going to be the Googan Clutch. Not only is this one of my favorite lures, this is one of my favorite brands. Googan itself makes very, very good lures. At least I personally think. I know that their hard baits are also in works with Ketchco. So if you know Ketchco, you know that they work really hard to outperform a lot of other brands, and they just put a lot of time and effort into their lure designs. So really anything that Ketchco kind of puts their hands on, I trust. And Googan themselves make great lures like the soft plastic, so you put those two together and you get great lures like this. This is going to be a 1/2 ounce lipless bait. This is the Sriracha Craw color, I believe. Yeah, Sriracha Craw. So that's a pretty fun and unique name. It's got that fiery red and orangish yellow look to it. It's got some really cool kind of glittery, almost paint in it. And one thing I will say about the Googan Clutch that I am familiar with is they catch big fish, and they are very loud in the water. They got knockers and BBs. So these lures are so freaking loud. And because this lure is so loud, you can kind of fish it out in the open, just kind of fan casting it, getting out there. But you can also just kind of rip it through grass patches. That's kind of the most common way to fish these lures is, you know, you find patches of grass, rip it right through there because it is a lipless crankbait. It's not going to have any sort of issue getting through the grass. As you can see, it just kind of works straight through, very aerodynamic. So I would just recommend using the yo-yo technique when you are fishing these things in grass patches, and usually when you have that bait come out of the grass real quick and then kind of fall back down, that is when you're going to get the strike of the fish. They're going to see that craw or that bait fish kind of pop out of the grass, and they're going to say, oh, I saw that. Go right after it, smack it. On top of that, they're going to hear the rattles. This is literally the loudest bait I've ever fished, guys. So the Googan Clutch, one of my favorite lures, one of my favorite brands once again, and that lure is going to be coming in at a whopping $7.99, so $8 right there. So that is going to be a big money saver that we're going to be getting out of Mystery Tackle Box. $8 on this one particular lure. I think we are coming to our total of the box price right now, which is $25. And we still have one more lure and a sticker left. So let's take a look at that sticker real quick. So I don't want to spoil the last lure yet. Got ourselves a nice little Cowboy rodeo bass. I don't know what you want to call that, but that's what we got. And last but not least, one of my favorite lures again in the mystery tackle box, and this month's lure of the month, or the spotlight lure. It is going to be the Mike Bucca Baby Bull Gill, and this is going to be in the natural gill color. So let's go and crack this bad boy open. So Ketchko and Mike Bucca decided to get together, collaborate, and design some very unique lures. This is one of the newest ones to hit the market in 2020, and it is the Baby Bull Gill. You may have heard of the Baby Bull Shad, but today we have the Baby Bull Gill in front of us. So the design of this lure is going to be a multi-segment swim bait. It is going to be 3 3/4 of an inch in length and 3/4 of an ounce in weight. As far as fishing this lure goes, you can use it in ponds, creeks, lakes, anywhere where you would see bluegill or where you know there are bluegill. This will definitely work. It swims very natural, and if you work it kind of slow and then pause, slow and then pause, it'll just get moving through the water, stop, moving through the water, stop, and it really gets the bass going, gets that reaction strike, just because they don't like it when bluegill get a little crazy in the water, get a little sporadic. So I did mention earlier that this is going to be the monthly spotlight lure. So they do provide a whole little breakdown front and back of the lure. They talk about you know, how you want to use it. They say it's going to be a smooth and steady retrieve about 2 to 5 feet below the surface. You want to use a medium to medium heavy rod and 10 to 15 pound fluoro or mono line. There's also a lot of information on here, how it talks about, you know, the bait that it is matching, and other information about where you want to toss this: logs, docks, isolated weed patches, deep grass, rocky shorelines. So there's a lot of great information on these cards. Once again, you do want to make sure you read these if you are going to be fishing the lures. But with that being said, we have gone over everything in this month's mystery tackle box. So if you guys have any questions for me, please let me know in the comments below. If you like the video, please leave me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. But we'll see you guys next time. Peace.